clarify, what does that mean? I'm asking a legitimate question.
I'm
3 people voting for the same,
I've got it in here.
then what do we do?
So what I have in here, recommended, is that so it takes majority vote, it takes 3 votes to get selected. If in the first round of voting, somebody fails to get 3 votes, then we remove the person that had the least amount of votes and do another round. If somebody still fails to get 3 votes, you remove whoever was last the second time, and you do another round until somebody ends up with 3 votes. I guess if no nominations are made, I didn't take that into account. If nobody's nominated from the floor, you say all these candidates are terrible, I don't want any of them. I don't know.
What he's referring to answer your question is in section 5. It is there. It's all listed in section 5. We could kind of tweak that, but I don't prefer here's the person that starts with the letter A, let's all vote on it, because that could knock someone out. I think that's kind of an unfair approach. I would do what you mentioned second, which is who do you vote for, who do you vote for? Give everyone an opportunity, because if your person is with the letter D that you want, and they get, that's not fair.
Although, it would almost be the same, because you're still getting 3 votes either way to be the winner.
But at least you're able to vote.
Yeah, that's true.
But the other way, you're not able to vote, potentially, which I don't like.
I have not accounted for if no person was nominated. So I guess, under the impression that at least one person would be nominated. If 5 are nominated, we'll get there through continuous rounds of voting. But if no one person's nominated, we'll have to do some more research on that.
Are you talking about a scenario where people file a declaration, they go through all of this, and then that's where it stops, nobody's nominating them?
Correct. We ask a bunch of questions, or the council asks a bunch of questions, and we get time to nominate from the floor. That and nobody filing would be the only way that I can see us not reaching consensus on the day of the meeting. But we would have to do more research as to what happens if nobody is nominated, or if nobody files.
And that's where it goes back to Indiana Code 3-1388, section E. That's where it leaves us.
Yes.
What, sorry?
880.
3-1388, section E, until the vacancy is filled, the council shall designate one of its members to serve as acting mayor.
I would support that, that's what my understanding is.
Yes. So
Can I make a motion right now to do that for somebody on the council? I don't want to blindside somebody, but I want to make sure we're covered. I don't want it. I don't want to do it for myself. I want to do it for somebody on the council tonight. I want to make a motion to move us forward. If we get in a situation where there is no person nominated, no person getting a majority of votes, we have to have somebody in that position as of August 17th. And Leanne has to know what to do. Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm not trying to scare you, Leanne, but you know how it's gonna happen. Is there anybody in here that I don't wanna do it? I can't with my teaching schedule. Is there anybody that wants to be that person in case there is a vacancy and we need somebody to perform the duties of the office?
I think we could wait until August 15th.
I don't think we can, because your resignation is effective August 16th by midnight, and somebody has to be available Monday morning to assume your duties. If there's a disaster in town, if there's a edict from the governor for COVID, somebody has to be making those decisions for the city. And it has to be one of the 5 of us. That's what the state statute requires. This is serious.
I'm not saying it's not.
I get that. I'm just telling you, it's a little scary. The 5 of us are brand new.
And I get what you're saying, and I know what he's saying, that we could wait till the 15th to decide that tonight. who knows their schedule, who knows if they could do it. Let's wait till the 15th.
But why don't you don't get to have the meeting on the 15th?
It needs to be done.
I,
And
yeah,
I know why you want to do it, so we have a plan in place.
yes.
But we need to think, who wants that responsibility?
Do we do it the 13th at the work session?
That gives people time to think about it. The 13th would be.
Because if, yeah, we don't get to have that meeting on the 15th for some reason,
I know what you're saying.
Yeah, it's-
This way we've got it back.
it's a little
just in
scary.
case. You've got it in place, just in case something happens.
we gotta take care of the city.
Yeah. And you're right, but I know I wouldn't want to make that decision tonight.
Are there any objections from the council from conducting that vote at the budget work session on Thursday, August 13th at 5 p.m.? Any objections? No, all right. That will be the first item of business before we get into the work session.
And that's gonna be reflected in your notice, right? Please. Good.
Huh? Well, we're gonna have a meeting of the common council on the 13th.
You're having a work session for the budget. That's
Still
not
a
exact,
public meeting, and we just told you that we're gonna have a vote.
no, sorry. Doesn't work.
Sorry, give me just a second. Let me make sure.
Can we have a special meeting like at 5 and then start the budget workshop at 5:15?
A budget workshop's still a public meeting.
Okay.
It's a meeting of the common council. So we'll do the, selection of a common council member first thing on the agenda, and then we'll move into budget workshop.
Have a budget workshop.
Yes.
I think we need to call a special meeting, so it's definitely,
It is a special meeting. Budget workshops are not a thing in the.
so it's going to be advertised as a special meeting.
Yes,
Okay, I just want to clarify, this is new to us.
yeah,
I know it runs through your head like water, but it's new to us, and we need to understand what we're doing.
yeah, there's no such thing as a workshop ending in a code.
Okay.
If we're all meeting to discuss something that's gonna be law, it's a meeting. Okay. All right, so in terms of order of business for the special meeting on the 15th, Saturday at 7 p.m. Call to order, we'll do a roll call. We will have the candidates in alphabetical order give 5 minutes about themselves. We will sit the candidates down, ask them questions in which they will have 3 minutes to respond maximum. We will then have time for the council to discuss those candidates. We'll move to nominations from the floor. Now, I do have in section 4, since we're talking about nominations, kind of stole from Robert's Rules of Order. So I will call for nominations by saying nominations are now in order for the office of the mayor. Under Robert's Rules, you don't need a second for a nomination. You just need a motion. Under Robert's Rules, no member of the council can nominate more than one person. Because there's only one position, you can only nominate one person. All 5 of you could nominate 5 different people, that's fine, but we can't have Cody Nelson nominating 2 people. And then I will call for further nominations until you guys are very much done nominating. Any discussion regarding the nomination process? In terms of the roll call election, the chair will call the question by saying, these are the nominees for the position of mayor. Presiding officer will go through the names in alphabetical order of those people that were just nominated by the council in the nomination section. Presiding officer will say, please state the name of the nominee you vote to elect to mayor when I call your name. The clerk treasurer will then call each councilor in alphabetical order by last name until all attending members have cast a vote. Clerk treasurer will report to the chair the number of votes received by each nominee. The chair, after reading the results to the assembly, or after reading the report to the assembly, I need to change that instead of them, will declare the result for that office. If any one person gets 3 votes, or more, they're the elected nominee, the candidate elected. In the case where no nominee receives at least 3 votes, the nominee with the fewest votes is dropped from the list of nominees for the next round of voting. Voting will continue under this subsection until a nominee receives at least 3 votes. Now, I know what you're thinking. I don't know what you're thinking. What if, this is what I was thinking and I couldn't figure it out. What if we have 4 nominees, one gets 2 votes, one gets 1 vote, one gets 1 vote, one gets 1 vote? What do we do? Mackenzie, what do we do? Sorry, I was thinking about this after we put this
Hang
together.
on, you're talking really fast, say that again. So if you have 4 nominees and none of them get the majority vote,
Correct. But you have 3 that tie for last place.
well, according to what you have written, then all 3 of them are dropped and you're left with a revote on the remaining, which I don't think makes sense.
No.
And the guy with 2 votes is left for us to vote on, and if that person doesn't get 3 votes, if it gets 4 nay votes and 1 yes vote, 5 nay votes, we still won't have a mayor.
Right.
Right.
Well, I asked the question, what we're gonna do in that situation.
I think that we're not going to be able to come up with, I don't believe, something that addresses every single scenario, but I would be interested, instead of me trying to throw things and see what you guys think, what do you guys think would be good, for the voting process? Since you're the ones voting, but you're the ones conducting this, pursuant to the rules, how do you guys feel the vote should go?
I feel like that situation, I would think that we would be able to come to some sort of consensus between 2 or 3 people. So I would really think that 4 people would not be spread out mediating. Did I say something funny?
No.
I really just was making sure, okay. So I would think that we would be able to come to some consensus between like 3 or 4 people and not 5 people. The 5 people thing would be.
I would think so too, but I think the fear is the what if, and how can we best address the what if now, ahead of time?
Well, I mean, could you take it back for more discussion?
I wouldn't be opposed to that, I just don't know, will that change, what if that doesn't change anything? Would we go back to discussion and then the vote still comes down the exact same?
You know, like EIEIO.
Just this seems effective.
Could you
I think that's where you have to realize whoever from the council is assuming the role. I mean, you're actually assuming an obligation to fulfill the term for the next 3.5 years if we don't find a mayor. It is a big deal. It's a really big deal.
This may be a really big incentive for you all to
Get out and do
get out, figure out some people, get some nominations, instead of waiting and seeing who shows up, because it is so serious, and if nobody shows up, of course, yeah, that's bizarre.
I don't know, that's gonna be
one idea I have is, let's say the 4-person thing, you got 1 person with 2, you got 3 with 1. Do we not have to vote of those remaining 3
There you
to
go.
see who gets
So like a
thrown out
process
for the
of
next round?
elimination?
Yeah.
Like elimination tournament?
It would be a.
I know what it
It
is,
wouldn't work.
right?
It wouldn't work.
Well, it's, I mean, yeah, that's why tournaments do that, because it's effective.
Well, not 1-on-1, so 1 person gets 2, 3 get 1. And I know I'm maybe overthinking this, but it could happen. You take those 3 candidates that got 1 vote, and then we just, that's you 5, which one you're voting for out of those, and then we go on to the second round. Whoever got the lowest from that would be thrown out.
That could work. It keeps it moving, it gives you an answer, if that weird scenario were to happen, it might not even happen, so.
I'm fine with not throwing it in here yet, because there's probably a better idea out there somewhere, but we could use that. If we get to that situation, we can make a motion to proceed in that fashion, on the day. Beyond any crazy 3, 5, 4-way ties, in terms of the roll call election, is there anything that the council desires, wants to change? but if you make a second, it's to show your endorsement for a person that's not really necessary.
It'd be redundant, but I'm just curious.
Any other questions regarding the proposed resolution? Okay, so let me restate, kind of the consensus gathered, before we have a motion, second, and a vote, to pass this resolution tonight. On subsection A, on section 1, subsection A, instead of 72 hours, it will be by Thursday, August 13th at 12 p.m. Subsection 1B remains the same. Subsection 2 remains the same. Section 3, A remains the same, B remains the same. We will have, and I should have used Roman numerals, so I apologize. So the first subsection within C will be the speech by the candidate limited to 5 minutes, enforced by the clerk treasurer and presiding officer. The second line will be a panel question and answer with the council and each member, or each candidate answering the questions, maximum 3 minutes. The next step will be discussion amongst council of the candidates. We'll then move to nominations from the floor, a roll call election, and then adjournment. Is there a motion to pass the proposed resolution as amended by consensus?
I would think so.
Councilman Nelson with the motion. Councilwoman Laura with the second. Do we have any further discussion regarding the proposed resolution as amended by consensus? I'll call the question as the passage of proposed resolution 2020-17, a resolution regarding procedure for filling vacancy of the mayor of the city of Delphi, as amended by consensus. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstaining? The motion carries unanimously. Thank you all. That wasn't too bad.
Who was my second on that?
Same. We'll move next to council comments and requests, starting with President Pro Tem comment.
I wanted to share with the council, today I received, a letter from the gal from the Anderson's corporate office in Maumee, Ohio. They are applying for an air permit revision, and it's going to affect the city. They have to notify several entities, and we're one of them. Call her and talk to her. Basically, what they're looking to do is they're going to add a pellet mill at the Andersons. It's not building anything new. It's gonna be in-house. It's a process to crush the cobs so they can use them for other products to be made, and add a cooler to the pellet mill because the process creates a significant amount of heat. They have to make the media aware. They're posting a copy of this in the public library because the public has a 14-day comment period where they can send their comments and concerns to IDEM. The reason for the permit request is because it's going to increase the dust emission coming from that location into the air. There are air quality issues, and they're creating a bag house to collect the dust and limit the emissions. But it is going to change the emissions coming from that plant. So there is a 14-day process. So if anyone asks you about that, I want you to be aware so you can give them an intelligent answer.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
President Pro Tem Connor, anything further? Councilman Isaac?
Thank you for your 4.5 years.
We still got 2 more. But
I figured I'd say it now since you did that.
I sincerely appreciate it. I thank all of you for serving in the capacity that you serve. It is an honor to serve the citizens of the community, and I'm sure you guys do as well. I appreciate you being here and going through rules of procedure for 30 minutes when you could be doing something else on this beautiful night. But I really do appreciate it. All right, public comment? Yes, sir.
2 questions. One, When you say nominations from the floor, you mean from the council members?
Yes, yes.
Not from the floor?
No, no, no.
Okay. Number two, are we going to have another Board of Works meeting? Okay,
No.
that's it?
All right, thank you, sir. Other public comment? Yes, ma'am.
Just a couple. The parking against the flow, ordinance that you passed tonight, how's that gonna be enforced? Do you reckon?
With tickets, parking tickets?
So, police are just going to see this and ticket? Are people supposed to call, what?
If police see that they can ticket, if it's a recurring problem, that police, it's a one-way dead end street, if the police aren't going down, then, yeah, they can give us a call.
Okay.
Go out and have a ticket.
Okay. And then the other thing that I wondered when I went through the whole thing, the, penalties for ordinance violations, I know it's tabled,
Right,
but it talks about a bureau, an ordinance violation bureau.
correct.
Who is that?
The clerk treasurer or her designee, is it you or Donna?
What?
The ordinance violation bureau, wait. Is it you or is it Donna?
I don't know what the second word you're saying.
It's the
Ordinance violation 0.
I thought it was the clerk.
I thought it was too.
Okay.
So the
We
clerk,
already have an ordinance on the books for that, it's the clerk.
the clerk determines the violations?
No,
No, she is the.
No.
she takes the money.
She takes the money, yeah.
It's the statutory way to circumvent the requirement for them to be processed in.
Yeah.
2 to 3 times the fees.
So who determines the fines?
The city council.
Okay, thanks, yeah, makes sense.
Previously, for all those ordinances, it would have been the judge that set the fine amount, and the judge could set it within the confines of the Indiana code. I can't remember what the maximum was.
Is there any big board works on the utilities to approve homes?
In 2 weeks.
What's the next day?
2 weeks from today, it's the 17th, my first day gone.
With the new mayor? And does the new mayor take his place on the board of works?
Yeah,
Okay.
the mayor is automatically on the board. Oh, sorry. I'm not having the board of works with you.
I will not be here that day, so.
Yikes.
Yes, clerk treasurer, I mean,
Okay, yeah,
35.01.
it makes it.
Yeah.
And
Yes, sorry.
what happens if the person chosen for mayor, is already working and needs to give notice and can't begin work on the 17th?
They would still be the mayor, they would still get sworn in,
Okay,
they just wouldn't be here yet. By statute, mayor has to work 1 day a year.
yeah,
Lane and I just go goofing off the rest of the time.
yeah.
Are you gonna swear in the new mayor on the 15th, if we choose one, or is somebody gonna be here to do that?
Yeah,
Who does that?
In the past, we've had, well, the clerk can, but in the past, we've had a judge.
Judge Wellness, which we don't have city court
Well,
anymore.
Yeah, but last time we had a judge.
Chris
Yeah, we
came
had Judge
over
Wells.
once and
Yeah, we had
did.
Judge
Judge
Lee,
Watts is not
Judge
sure.
Yeah,
What's,
so the clerk is available for example.
yeah, I'm sure he'd be thrilled about coming in Saturday.
I think if someone's put themselves in a position that they're gonna accept this position, I think they want someone besides the clerk, swearing them in. I'm quite sure they would, whether Judge Diener or whatever.
So could that be done Thursday, Monday morning?
no,
At midnight, Monday morning.
yeah, that's when the position's vacant. Could the clerk of the circuit court do it?
Yes, and actually, I talked to her, and she said she could be here, whatever night you want it.
Yeah.
She can.
You can call me after I got done. You want me to repeat? So, I guess you can't see my mouth moving.
No, you can,
Oh,
no.
all right.
As long as you speak up, it doesn't matter what you do.
Are
are you going to be checking with her to verify she is available for that hearing first meeting?
Yeah, just talked to her before I came in as well.
Okay.
Where are we? Did we have anything further? Oh, we're on public comment.
I'm done.
Oh,
I'm finished, thank you.
Clerk Treasurer Aldrich, do you have anything? I skipped you.
That's okay.
No, I think you asked her. Okay.
All right, well, there's no other business before us, there's one last motion we made.
Motion adjourned.
Is there a second? Councilman Nelson and Kingery, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? All right, the meeting is adjourned. It is 7:21 PM. Thank you all.